Balden Savel, Ama Rinpoche, Dagijiwo Detention La, Katin Chimpo Kone Jison de Kusun Tukimoto Saldo, so Chaza Wata, Jujin Shapa. Jesu Iran Kushin Sowa in Gawa Junse Dagi Chisapa, Tamchi Zobe Janju Chimpo, Sashi, Puju Jushimetoda. Rirabling Sheni de Kemba de, Sangi Shing to make the Pulwain, Toko Namda Shing La Chuba, Sho, Semjen Namki Sapa. Loi cheta chita war chejun tumo tekpa yin cheki kolo kordo so. Tashi Delek, and hello everyone. And today we are going to speak on the Buddha, or who is the Buddha. And historically speaking, so we do have a Buddha, like the Buddha. He was born here in Nepal, and it is like almost a little more than 200 kilometers, I guess, from here, bordering the country of India. So in a place called Lumbini, he was born there. And then after that, he got enlightened in Bodh Gaya, and then he gave his first teaching in Sarnath, Varanasi, and then he passed away in Kushinagar. So that is the Buddha that all of us know. And sometimes we call him the light of Asia also, I guess. And that is the Buddha we know. And to describe what is a Buddha, and normally in Tibetan we have the word for the Buddha is Sangye. And there is two words, I guess, should I say, Sang and Ge. So Sang means, before starting that, according to the text, there is so many different ways of describing the Buddha. And for the beginners and for most of the students, it gets a little confusing when it is described in a very detailed way. So what I am trying to explain is explain it in a very simple way. So anybody who's going to listen, I hope they are able to understand what a Buddha is. And in Tibetan, I think when we describe from the Tibetan words, it is very easy to understand. So sometimes we call him Sangye, or we can also call him Jangchub. And here, both of these two words have like two sound. So one is Sang and Ge, and one is Jang and Chub. And describing about that, Sang means to remove away. And when we remove away all our negativity, everything that is fault, so anything fault or anything wrong that we have from our body, anything wrong that we have in our speech, and anything that we have wrong in our mind. So these three, when we remove away all of them, then we can call someone a Buddha. So Sang means like removing away all the things that needs to be removed, or getting rid of all this. And Ge means like having all the knowledge, or having all the wisdom. And just like that, Jangchub is also like that. Jang means like removing all the negativity, negative emotions, and Chub means again receiving all the knowledge and wisdom. And it is very important to understand that first we are describing on the removing part, because like for example, when you are in your home, and if you ask someone to clean your home, the way you ask someone to clean your home is you tell them to remove away all the garbages, remove all the dust, remove all the things that are not useful in your home or maybe in your apartment, like that. And as soon as you remove away all the dirt, all the garbage, all the things that are not needed, not wanted, not useful, the house automatically becomes clean. You don't have to do something else. As soon as you remove all the dirt, all the garbage, it becomes clean. And for that, what we need to know is we need to know what are the dust, what are the garbage, what are the useless thing in the house or in the apartment. And just like that, even for Buddha, first we need to remove away all the negativity. So here, the things that we need to remove are attachment, anger, and ignorance. So these three. And once when we are able to remove these three, attachment, anger, and ignorance, and when we are able to completely remove them, then we become a Buddha. So I guess from this point of understanding, I guess it is very easy to understand what a Buddha is. And then sometimes we also hear about Bodhisattva. And talking about Bodhisattva, again, we need to understand. When we are removing away all these poisons, when we are removing away attachment, when we are removing anger, and when we are removing ignorance, obviously we cannot remove all these three completely right from the start. And for that, it takes time. And when we have just started or when we have not started, we are a very normal human being. And then later when we are in the path, and then when we have removed like maybe 40% of our attachment, anger and ignorance, or maybe like 50% or maybe like 60%, then we can say someone is a Bodhisattva. And then when someone has removed all the 100% of attachment, 100% of anger, and 100% of ignorance, then we can call them a Buddha. So when we describe it like this, then I think it is very easy to understand what a Buddha is. And then again, talking about Buddha, sometimes people think that because normally in the Vajrayana Buddhism or Mantrayana Buddhism, or sometimes people call it the Tibetan Buddhism, we see so many deities. And people are not able to accept them as a Buddha because sometimes the color is very different. Sometimes we see like a white deity, sometimes we see like a yellow deity in color, sometimes they are like blue in color, sometimes black in color, and some of them are very peaceful, and some of them looks very wrathful, and sometimes they have like 4 heads, sometimes they have like 11 heads, sometimes they have like quite a lot of number of heads. Sometimes we see them like 4 with 4 hands. Sometimes we see them like having 1,000 of hands. And then sometimes people think that maybe these are not Buddha. So Buddha is someone who was born in Lumbini, in Nepal, and then only he is the Buddha. But actually these are also Buddha because like all this Buddha, they have lots of qualities. And just seeing the image of the Buddha, sometimes we are not able to understand all the qualities of the Buddha. So we have to describe the qualities of the Buddha. And for that, we need to have some symbol, or we need to have some people to introduce you or the qualities of the Buddha like that. And for that, the easiest way, I think, is making a diagram or a drawing or an image or a statue. And for that, for example, what we say is Buddha is very peaceful. And if we make an image of someone just like looking like a normal human being, maybe we will not be able to get that idea behind that, that represents peaceful. So what we do is we make a deity who is very white in color because white represents peace. And seeing like Kuan Yin or Genesis, Avalokiteshvara, or whatever we say. So whenever we have a thanga of that, it is very, the physical appearance or the color of the body is white. because the white represents peace. So we have to know that there is a reason. And when people see like all these different kind of deities, they think, oh, maybe Tibetan Buddhism is something different, because they don't have the image of the Buddha. They have like all these weird deities, weird, maybe like looking like, maybe sometimes looking like gods, sometimes looking like demon, like that. But all of these like have a purpose. The way they look, the way they are drawn, the number of heads they have, the number of hands they have, everything has a purpose. And again, all of us believe in when there is a Buddha, they are the four limitless. And I think no matter what kind of Buddhist we are, whether we are from the Theravada, or whether we are from the Mahayana sect, or whether we are from the Vajrayana sect, we do believe in the four limitless. Limitless joy, limitless compassion, limitless equanimity, and limitless joy, compassion, and yeah, all these four. And when we see a Buddha, we might not be able to get that it represents the four limitless. But when we see an image of a Chenrezig who has like four hands, and these four hands represents these four limitless. The one hand represents the limitless joy, second hand represents the limitless compassion, the third hand represents the limitless equanimity, like that. And we have to know that there is a purpose of drawing these four hands. And this Chenrezig is also a Buddha, but we are making it in a little different way so that we are able to understand the qualities of the Buddha. And then again, the Chenrezig will have like 2 feet. And these 2 feet also represent something. Or we can say 2 feet or maybe 2 legs. And because to become a Buddha, we need to have method and wisdom. If there's only method, then we are not going to gain enlightenment very easily, or we are not able to gain enlightened. If there's wisdom also, it is not only going to be enough. We need to have the method and we need to have the wisdom. We need to have both method and wisdom. And just like that, to represent these method and wisdom, the Chenrezig will have like 2 legs, which represents this method and wisdom. And again, we talk about 6 perfections. And again, when we just draw an image of someone, maybe we are not able to get that. But again, to know about the 6 perfections, we make like 6 different kinds of ornaments on the Chenrezig. So here I'm only like maybe giving a rough talk on Chenrezig, but it is not only Chenrezig, but Manjushri, Mahakala, whatever deities that we see. So everything has a purpose. The color has a purpose, the number of hands, the number of eyes, all this has a purpose. So like I was saying, the 6 perfection. So we talk about generosity, we talk about discipline, we talk about patience, we talk about diligence, we talk about meditation, and then we talk about wisdom. And these 6 perfections are represented by the ornaments that the Chenrezig is wearing. So we have like 6 different ornaments that Chenrezig is wearing. So there's like necklaces, there's like anklets, there's like bracelets, there's like bells, there's the crown, and even necklaces. There are like 3 different size of necklaces. So in total, we count 6 different kinds of jewelries or ornaments. And these 6 represents these 6 perfections. And again, like in the beginning, I said Buddha, they are in Tibetan 2 words, Sang and Ge. One is removing away all that is to be removed, and one is having all the knowledge to gain. And just like that, one is to, first you need to be the Buddha, and that when you are Buddha, you are very pure, and that is represented by the lotus flower that the Chenrezig is holding, because lotus flower is normally grown in a very muddy water, and still, but the lotus flower is very pure, very clean, and that is represented by the lotus flower. This means that from inside, the genesis is perfect. And you being perfect doesn't help so much, but you also need to benefit other beings. And for that, that is represented by the jewel that the Chinese is holding in his hand. You can normally see the jewel. That means that whatever others are wishing, the Chinese is able to grant them the blessing. So these all have like a meaning for that. And then the Chinese is also holding a mala. And when you are reciting a mala, you recite like this, and the mala goes up, 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 up like that. So when you are practicing on the Genesis, what we believe is you are getting near to the enlightenment or nearer to the Buddhahood. So all this has like a meaning. And when we understand that, so whether we see a peaceful Buddha, peaceful deity, wrathful deity, any kind of color, when we know that this all has like a purpose, then it will not contradict our idea of a Buddha. So it is very important to know all this. So I guess this is a small, short introduction on the Buddha according to the Vajrayana tradition, I guess. And I guess this is it for today's talk. And thank you everyone who is listening. And we will do a short dedication prayer for whatever merit that we have gained. So me from giving the talk and all of you from listening to the talk. So at the end, we will do a long life prayer for my root guru, and then we'll do a dedication prayer. Oh, tembe balgyo kama lotu shab chobe sambo yunden kakyabdu beshin shabe tatin shedu tinle chole namgya balba sho sonam de tamche sepani tomne nyebe tanam pamche kega nache balap chubai sibe chole dowa dowa sho.
That's after listening to your teachings, that is that our human beings can be a Buddha.
Human beings do become Buddha. So the one who was born here in Nepal is the best example we can give.
So the path to be a Buddha, is that is that a long way or short way that we can do, removing our poisons and also foster our goodness then? And is it is it the way to become a Buddha in ourselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of us have the Buddha nature, and because to become a rose flower, there need to be the seed of the rose. If there is the seed of rose, then there's definitely a possibility of the seed becoming a rose. And just like that, all of us have Buddha nature. And it is just that it is covered by all the afflictions that we have. Because of the attachment, because of the anger, it is covered. And once we remove these cover, we become Buddha. And because of the attachment, anger, and all this ignorance, we are not able to realize our Buddha nature, or we are not able to know that we are Buddha. But we can be Buddha, and if we try to remove away all these poisons, then we will definitely be Buddha. We say that now we are not so ready to fight with our afflictions, because whenever we see something nice, whenever we see something influenced by that, so that is why we need to run away from all this attachment, anger, jealousy, ignorance, and that is why we run away from them, and then we be in retreat. Retreat normally means like running away, yeah. So when you are in a war and when you are losing, so the captain will say retreat, and everybody will run away so that they can save their life. And just like that, retreat means like that, because now we are not ready to fight with our attachment. We are not ready to fight. If we fight, we will definitely lose. So that is why we go to retreat, we practice, and when we think we are ready to fight with our attachment, then we come out of retreat. In our daily life, we see And if we win, then it's very good. If we are losing, then again we need to retreat, go back to Namo Buddha or wherever.